Have you ever explained something to your students thinking you've been crystal clear, but when you check their understanding, all you get is blank stares? It feels like the message just didn't land. And that's not always a reflection of their effort. More often, it's about cognitive load. In this lesson, I'm going to explain cognitive load theory in plain English, why it matters so much in teaching, and what it means for the way we design lessons and slides. By the end, you'll see why small tweaks can make a huge difference to how well your students actually learn. And before we dive in, if you'd like a practical resource to take away, I've created a free guide to reducing cognitive load in your teaching. It's packed with strategies and examples you can use straight away. You'll find the link in the description box below. Cognitive load theory comes from the work of John Sweller in the 1980s, and it's since been called by Dylan Williams the single most important thing for teachers to know. Why? Because at its core, it explains how students process information in working memory and how easily that memory can get overwhelmed. Back in 1956, psychologist George Miller suggested our short term memory could handle about 7 items plus or minus a couple. That idea became known as the magical number 7. But more recent research, like Nelson Cohen's work, shows it's probably closer to 4 chunks of information at a time. Either way, it's not much. If students are trying to juggle too many things at once, it's like trying to run 10 apps on an old phone. The system just freezes. In a classroom, that looks like confusion, disengagement, or just students giving up. Our job is to help working memory cope so students can actually move information into long-term memory where it sticks. Let's slow this down and really dig into what cognitive load actually is. Think of your students' working memory like a dinner plate. It's not massive, it's a single dinner plate, not an all-you-can-eat buffet. You can fit a balanced meal on there, but if you keep piling it up with too much food, things start to spill off the sides. Cognitive load is simply the amount of mental effort being used in working memory at any given time. If that plate gets overloaded, the brain can't process what's on it. Students end up confused, forgetting things, or switched off. Sweller explained that there are 3 types of load, and each one affects how full that plate gets. Intrinsic load, the natural weight of the subject. Some topics are naturally heavier meals than others. Asking a student to add 2 single-digit numbers is like giving them a light starter, simple and manageable. It doesn't take much effort. But asking them to solve simultaneous equations is like putting a heavy roast dinner on the plate. It just takes up more mental effort to chew through. Now, we can't make a roast dinner into a starter. Some topics are simply complex. But what we can do is portion them out. That might mean breaking the process into smaller bites or teaching the vocabulary first so students know the ingredients before they taste the full dish. For example, if I want students to write a full essay, I don't just say, go for it. I might start by giving them a sentence scaffold or showing them a model paragraph. That way, I'm easing them in instead of piling the whole meal onto their plate. Extraneous load, the clutter on the plate. Extraneous load is the overload that doesn't even help. It's like throwing a heap of garnish or a soggy lettuce leaf onto the plate. It takes up space but adds nothing of value. In the classroom, this is when students waste energy on things that don't actually move the learning forward. Imagine a PowerPoint slide crammed with 12 bullet points in tiny text, or instructions you've rattled off once with nothing written down for them to check back. Or a lesson where students are constantly flipping between the textbook, the board, and your voice just to keep up. That's wasted brain power. They're not learning the content, they're navigating the noise. So, how do we cut the clutter? We keep slides simple and clear. We give instructions in short bursts and repeat them in both spoken and written form. We make sure diagrams and labels are together and not spread across different pages or screens. And we ditch the distracting clip art, flashing text, or wild animations that do more harm than good. Take an art lesson on composition, for example. If I'm teaching the rule of thirds, I wouldn't show the image of a painting on one slide and then move to another slide with the grid lines and explanation. I'd overlay the grid directly onto the artwork and talk it through in one place. That way, the students can connect the visual explanation instantly, instead of wasting effort trying to hold 2 separate images in their heads. They can focus on the main course, understanding composition, instead of the garnish that clutters the plate. Germaine Load, the productive effort. Finally, we've got Germaine Load, and this is the healthy part of the meal. This is the energy that actually nourishes learning. It's the mental work of making sense of things, connecting new ideas to what they already know, and building lasting understanding. If we've stripped away the clutter, students have more energy left for this useful effort. We can boost Germaine Load by asking them to explain their thinking out loud, or by weaving in retrieval practice, which helps them strengthen memory, or by making links back to prior learning so the new stuff has something to hook onto. Take a maths lesson. After I've modelled how to solve a problem, I don't just ask them to copy it. I'll say, why did I do that step? Or what would happen if I skipped it? That little pause makes their brain chew properly, and that's where real learning sticks. So, intrinsic load is the weight of the subject, extraneous load is the clutter on the plate, and Germaine load is the nutritious effort students put into learning. We need to remember that our role isn't to make the plate empty. Students need a meal to grow, but if we overload it with the wrong stuff, nothing gets digested. The aim is to portion carefully, strip away the clutter, and give space for the good stuff. Every distraction, every cluttered slide, every vague instruction, it all piles on extraneous load. Our goal is simple: strip away the unnecessary and let students focus their energy where it counts, on learning.